Hey folks, Inventor John Gay here. It's been a while since I made a video, and I guess it's just I've been kind of depressed, and I didn't want to make a video when I was depressed because I don't want to bring people down. You know, it's like I want to make happy videos, and I want to be successful with my YouTube channel, and I know the folks seem to enjoy my motor videos the best. So this is the Skilsaw. These are my bike motors, and these mount on the back of my bike, my electric bike that I made from scratch. It was an old AMF Shelby bicycle that I got out of garbage a long time ago. Actually, back when I was still working, had a vehicle. I owned my own business. I used to own John's Construction, and was pretty successful with my business. I used to do remodeling work and painting and drywall and home construction, mostly home remodeling work that I did, and really got started after Katrina in 2005 is when it really took off, and I had to quit my day job and start working for myself full time, and I made pretty good money. I had a lot of really happy customers out there. I really miss that business that I used to have, so I want to get into something similar to that, which could involve anything from, you know, process management or manufacturing or something. I would like to really just make and sell these motors, even if it's just in an artistic form, you know. Another idea is electric car conversions. People have classic cars that they might want to just, you know, save the car but convert it to electric so they can fit in with the new culture that's coming down the road. You know, still ways down the road, but you know, you see the Tesla Model S. People that drive that they're just like, oh man, I'm done with I'm done with those old stinky gas engines. You know, electric cars it's like going into another dimension. You know, the 0 to 60 in 2 seconds. You know, really exciting. The power of electric motors, I guess, is what's exciting. And of course, well, we've always had to just plug these things in the wall to get power, is what we think. Oh, well, we have to burn fossil fuels and all this. Well, we don't really. That's where the real hoax is, you know. Global warming and climate change, that's not the hoax. The hoax is to say, oh, we have to burn carbon. The only source of energy is carbon. No, lithium contains energy, and oxygen contains, argon contains energy, gold contains energy, uranium contains energy, but also you have thorium contains energy. You have non-reactive metals contain energy. All matter contains energy. Matter and energy are one and the same. E equals mc squared. So with nuclear energy, you're just converting matter into energy and back and forth. And that's what Tesla was talking about. The entire universe is already in motion. That's all you need to generate electricity is relative motion between a magnetic field and a conductor. So really the secret is in the conductivity, the conductors, the magnetic field, field shaping, things like that. And so what we've done is we've learned a lot from these people who were suppressed, and you really have to do your research, because you know, even now, like YouTube is, you can't find my channel. It's YouTube is kind of suppressing and keeping it down, and you know, until they're like, well, hey, is he on board with the secrecy or not? Like, if you're not part of the secret system, that's not going to get out. That any kind of free, you know, because you got to pay to play. It's just the way the world works. So we don't want to get off onto a rant about that. But no, it's just, yeah, the way the world works is that, you know, there's free energies everywhere, but it's not available because just the simple fact that you're going to have to work to get it anyways. Tesla said, you know, many generations may pass before we have the systems in place to where, you know, nature just provides the energy. But someone still has to maintain those solar panels and keep them clean, or go replace them after hailstones break them, or somebody has to replace the batteries and keep them maintained. Someone has to mine, you know, somebody Well, the robots might do all the work. We could have solar powered robots mining the minerals for the solar panels, for the electric motors and everything. We'd have solar powered robots in space, nuclear powered robots in space, mining asteroids for the metals that we need. It is time for humans to become a type 1 civilization and move off this planet, I have to say. You know, it's been fun, it's been real, it's been fun, but it ain't been real fun for some of us, you know. Some of us were born on the south side of Monroe and had to slave away at hard labor our whole life, you know. Some of us were born poor and you know, struggle to feed a kid while you're stuck in a trailer down in Balkanville, and your old man ain't there to help you sometimes, you know. We didn't all have an easy life. You know, some of us were born into privilege, but others had to work hard to get what we need, and others are coming up. You know, the future's not here yet, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So, people like Joe Newman, though, did discover and point out, and Tesla did discover and point out, that once those systems are in place, the free energy is there, and it should be made available. In other words, you know, we need to turn this around where we're not humans slaving away just to keep our machines running. You know, why do we do anything? It should be for your children, you know. I'm sorry for people that have lost their kids. Like I said, I've got a friend that lost her only child, and I never had any children of my own. You know, so that gives me that struggle with motivation. When I get up in the morning, why am I making this video? You know, who's going to watch it? Will they care? Do they care about me? Maybe not. But then do I care about them? What am I here to educate you? You just want to be educated? You just want to know the secrets of this or that? Well, Joe Newman, you know, tried to, you know, put products out there, I should say. You know, and so then the knowledge would have just infiltrated the public consciousness, even just because the products are there. Everyone that tried to go that route, though, Stan Myers, you know, he invented a water burning car. Basically, this fuel injector thing, you put it on your car, and you literally can just run water as your fuel. It electrolyzes the water and gets it at the right combustion ratio and everything, and then injects it. Literally, your spark plug becomes your fuel injector and your hydrolyzer and everything to run your car on water. And supposedly the alternator was able to self-feed the system. And it's low energy nuclear reactions. It's from the cavitation reactions, or just the, you know, whatever low energy nuclear reactions of the unfolding of the molecules of the water itself. Stored, contained, even if it's low energy, you know, a weak nuclear force. Yes, a weak nuclear force of the water molecule. Cold fission instead of cold fusion. Cold fission is what I would call the Stan Myers electrolysis unit, if it really does work, and it really would be called over unity in a thermodynamic system, but it's not a thermodynamic system of mechanical Newtonian physics. Electricity is not a Newtonian fluid. It's not a mechanical fluid. It's not a mechanical substance. Plasma is the fourth state of matter, so it does not behave like matter. If anything, it could be a form of condensed matter or expanded matter. Plasma is just, it's not the same as what we would call ordinary, you know, it doesn't behave like billiard balls rolling down a plane. You know, the old-fashioned Newtonian physics simply just doesn't work for electricity. So, it could be applied way more effectively than what's happening. You know, they're trying to treat it as something that they can bill you and charge you for, like you would charge someone for food or a liquid fuel, for example. Water, again. Well, if you can actually use water as a fuel by the cold fission process of turning it into electric cars, basically an electric car, you're still using the internal combustion engine, but the Stan Meyer water spark plug thing, it would basically electrolyze the water, vaporize it, and inject the Brown's gas directly into the cylinder of the car. Okay, assuming this was real and that was why the man was murdered. Well, he was murdered because the way it was seen is that it threatened the entire economic system. So you had that gets into the whole Star Trek thing of do the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one? You know, this one guy is going to get rich off his water burning car. Everybody else is going to run their well dry, you know, trying to sell their water for fuel. You know, it could have really just too disruptive, I should say, is maybe what somebody decided. And yeah, they got away with it too. However, they were able to get away with it, you know, but so they chalked it up to, you know, oh, he just had an aneurysm or whatever, but like he knew what was happening when it happened. He's like, hey, they just poisoned me, you know, I felt my stomach getting really ill and now I'm dying, boom, and he died. And that's what he told his brother apparently. So his brother is really not in the public, you know, he's like, hey, I'm staying out of the public too, you know. Well, I probably have enemies out there, you know, nothing I can do about it. You know, I mean, I might have one or two neighbors wanting to kill me. One of them's selling his house now and moving away, so good for him. I don't really want to sell my house. Why should I have to move? I have just as much right to be alive and live on this earth and be here as anybody. I've said this in some of my other videos, and I'll say it again. Maybe that's what made that video popular. It's like, hey, you know, we just want to hear another reporter out there that's saying, hey, you know, I want to know what's going on too. Shout out to Secure Team 10. I don't know what's wrong with the guy, Tyler from Secure Team 10. This was a guy that made, you know, he was studying the UFO phenomena. That's one of my subjects I'm interested in. Extraterrestrial life, or high altitude, or exobiology, cryptozoology, Bigfoot, you know, any kind of supernatural stuff like that I find fascinating. Well, particularly because when you deal with electricity and plasma, you run into really bizarre things, and I've also had some close encounters of my own that I don't really want to discuss right now. Not sure if we want to turn this into the UFO channel, because or a free energy channel. I'm not claiming free energy. I'm just saying that we're using quantum physics in a different way. We're applying energy way more efficiently. Also, the way the rotors are designed. Yeah, I rewired this motor, and I'm taking advantage of some things. But the rotor that's in there is just a crappy design. See if I can focus on it. That rotor down in there, it's just a crappy design. I can't really rewire it, so there's only so much I can do with it. But let's go ahead and fire this up anyway, so I'm sitting here talking about it. I worked on this a lot for the last few days to get this where it will run now, and I got this little battery charged up. This is my little 18 volt lithium ion battery. Came out of a Milwaukee cordless drill. This is the battery that we've used several times on that big motor up there. That's my big Shamrock motor. That's another one of my high efficiency. That was one of the first ones that I made. Really high efficiency motors. Again, I'm taking advantage of what I call the Joe Newman effect. The John Bedini effect, although it's not really, I can't call it Bedini effect. It's, I mean, Tesla discovered everything that Bedini was doing, so Bedini is just like a pulse motor, but it's just resonance is all that is. I'm not really pulsing. This is continuous. I'm using the same commutator that was already there, and I just got special brushes on here, and a special type of coil, and the shape of the field too, which I've hidden under there. The field shaping is really the only thing I'm doing. I'm taking advantage of what I call my water wheel field here, and I'll have to discuss that in a book, the reasons why I call it the water wheel, particularly that word. But I'll just maybe leave that for a book I want to write. So anyways, let's go ahead and crank this up. I want to see how hot this is going to get. I'm going to let it run for a minute. I want to see how much current it drains. So this little wire acts like a fuse. You see this tiny little, this is a DC battery. You know it's a high amperage device. If I short this out, it'll just catch fire. Lithium ion batteries are notorious for catching fire. So anyways, this thin little element right here will act as the sort of like a fuse, because it's like 24 gauge wire. So let's go ahead and plug it in. It's going to be kind of loud too, so I'm not going to talk anymore. Got a lot of torque. Speeding up and slowing down. So that's the drive wheel that goes on the back tire of my bicycle. And the whole thing's running on this little bitty battery. Down to 1 bar now though. And there's my tiny little fuse there. But it's still draining the battery down a little bit. Speeding up and slowing down is because of a really bad design on the rotor. And the brush is loose. Alright, well, It's pretty warm. Well, the drive coil is not terribly warm. The rotor's pretty hot though. The rotor's pretty dang warm. You could still use a little bit of a cooling fan maybe even. Yeah, it is pretty dang warm. Drive coil is fairly warm but not real hot. Yeah, the commutator and brushes are smoking hot. Yeah, it's pretty dang warm. So if it had a good load on it, it's supposed to run on 12 volts anyways though. It was running warmer than I wanted to, but pretty powerful. Pretty powerful. So, but there's just the design that the design of the rotor is just terrible. It needs to be totally redesigned, and that's I guess that's all I can really contribute to the whole world of electric motors down the road, is going to just be better quality designs for motors. So hopefully I will get to the point where I'm selling these motors and generators or trying to license the technology out. But I need to go ahead and get some kind of a contract going. I've got some venture partners who are interested in going ahead and trying to market the technology, patent or not. We can just keep it, sort of keep the proprietary nature of it, and maybe that will help the profitability aspect. Like I said, everyone who's tried to educate the public on these type of things, the Stan Meyer, I should say, Joe Newman, which Joe Newman was went off the deep end a little bit, yeah. He had his own theory, which I guess everyone who's really a talented inventor is going to have his own version of physics, his own way of understanding physics, I guess I should say. I've always tried to, follow the mainstream peer review system. I've studied physics really since childhood, and I've just tried to keep up with all the latest developments with CERN, the Large Hadron Collider, quantum mechanics, all the latest things that are happening with quantum mechanics. It's I'm leaning towards the many worlds interpretation, the sort of the Everett model. Sean Carroll is a physicist out there, has some interesting ideas with regards to that. Leonard Susskind explains the sort of quantum physics in a way that allows for the quantum energy. Basically, it's not really 0 point energy, it's not really the same thing, except that the Casimir force that still exists in theory at the 0 point, that would be, that's like just almost like proof of this higher dimensional thing, that you've frozen, you've frozen time to zero temperature. You've frozen time and created zero temperature, but there's still this surrounding space of energy. Yeah, describing the Casimir force, or just quantum energy in general, even explaining it to somebody who's agnostic or just not really familiar with, I guess the whole notion of the quantum probability is really the idea of the many worlds interpretation, the different timelines things, different timelines, not really different universes. And it's not even parallel time. It's like divergent timelines they interact, they can cross paths. Yeah, it's well, I'm about to run out of time on this video actually. I guess I could crank this motor up again. I just got lost in thought thinking about quantum mechanics. Like, how would you explain quantum mechanics or the Casimir force to just a lay person? Leonard Susskind does a pretty good job, I guess I should say, you know, with just some background in physics, in math. All you really need is maybe some background understanding of math and some background understanding of physics, and he would probably be able to explain the Casimir force and quantum energy in somewhat of a sense that people can understand. But even the people that think they understand, like all of us theoretical physics people out there, we're all just sort of speculating and daydreaming in a way too. You know, we're still just sort of analyzing nature and analyzing the universe as a means to just enjoy life and to share and to teach each other, really, to teach and share and entertain, educate each other. You know, if we're not put here to do that, to be an entertainer for each other, then why else are we here? You know, so okay, well, just a few minutes left. Let's go ahead and crank this motor back up. It's still pretty warm, but it's not really what I would call overheating. Oh, this wire came loose. Let's see. Blue and there's orange.